spring edition of PWNED will unfold thusly.
The awesome Todd McFarlane talks to us about Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning and how to lop someone's head off.
We get the inside info from the team at DICE on how to rule the skies in Battlefield 3.
And Life's Too Short star Warwick Davis talks Star Wars with Sian. Welcome to PWNED, and if you're surprised to see us back again so soon, don't be alarmed because the show now goes out twice a month.
Indeed it does, and you can enjoy a surprise-free consumption of PWNED by subscribing to us using the link above.
Let's kick things off with a bit of EA news. Mass Effect 3 is finally with us on March the 9th, but if you want even more stopping power in your galactic war against the Reapers, then there are ways and means. You can pre-order the game for PC via Origin and get yourself a kick-ass Raider shotgun and Argus battle rifle, or get the swanky N7 Collector's Edition, which comes in a tin case shinier than the Normandy and contains loads of extra in-game goodies and actual real objects you can touch, like an art book, comic and soundtrack. Also, don't forget the demo is available to download on February the 14th, which is of course Valentine's Day. So if you don't have a loved one to woo, you can spend the day shooting aliens in the face and chatting up your crew on the Normandy instead. You can watch the PWNED Mass Effect 3 special in a fortnight's time.
Right, on to Battlefield 3. Now, while some of our viewers have been debating in the comment section on YouTube about whether the bonus vehicle in Wake Island is a bulldozer or a forklift, my main bone of contention with Battlefield 3 at the moment is watching Matt's shonky attempts at being a pilot.
It's true, I may be a killer on the ground, but my flying skills leave something to be desired.
Just a bit.
So we thought, why don't we get some tips for all the rookie pilots out there that spend less time flying and more time crashing.
And at PWNED we don't muck about. If we want Battlefield 3 tips, we go straight to DICE.
I'm Gustav Harling and I'm a gameplay designer on Battlefield 3. I know some of you have found it a challenge how to control the aerial vehicles. Here's some tricks how to rule the sky. The VTOL fighter jet gives you the speed of an airplane but the hovering capabilities of a helicopter. You can now take off and land vertically. Hovering is a risky move that makes you an easy target, but it can also pay off big time since it gives you the chance to fight off infantry around the flag while capturing it at the same time. An easier way to level up in your airplane is to start by shooting ground targets before shooting down air targets. I often see players not using the afterburner when I'm playing online, and they're really missing out on really good tactics. You should use the afterburner when you take off and when you want to get away from enemies, like helicopters. If it is an airplane that is targeting you, you should not use the afterburner since it will increase your turn radius. It's also good for putting some distance between yourself and your next intended ground target, so you have time to do a turn and line up your sights properly for your bomb run or strafing run. You need to work with your plane's turning capabilities to make sharper turns. By pressing and holding brake, you can either turn away from an enemy locking onto you, or turn sharply onto an enemy to lock onto it. But remember not to hold the brake button too long since it will decrease your speed and making you a sitting duck for enemy air vehicles. A more advanced way to brake is by tapping the brake button instead of holding it. This will make you turn sharper without losing as much speed. When you start to feel that the plane isn't responding to your steering, it's time to speed up again. Using flares at the right time is essential for keeping your plane alive. Something I often see is that players pop flares immediately when they are being locked on by an enemy pilot or sample infantry. Instead, wait for the lock text on your HUD to stop blinking before popping flares. Otherwise you will lose your only defense against heat-seeking missiles. Be warned that if you fly too close to a friendly air vehicle, the missile might change targets. It won't get you any favors with your team, but it might save your life. Air radar is a very effective system when unlocked, since it will show you the position of all close air vehicles. This means that you can follow enemy airplanes' twists and turns without seeing it on your screen. This will make it easier to avoid planes sneaking up behind you and locking onto you. Flying a helicopter means being close to the ground, taking out infantry and vehicles. This means you will get heat seekers locking onto you more often than you have flares to pop. You have to be able to loose lock and maneuver away from missiles often, and this is done by fast maneuvering between buildings and blocking line of sight with the attacker. Rockets are very effective when used the right way against enemy armor. Leave the infantry for your gunner. The best way to take out an enemy tank is to advance towards it from the back for maximum damage and aiming using the L crosshair instead of the static one. The L sight in an attack helicopter tries to show you where your rockets will hit, which, depending on your angle and speed, isn't necessarily where the static center one is. Make sure to never fly straight after you made your attack, since a tank will easily take you out when you pass it. If you get enough helicopter time, you will unlock the TV missile. If used correctly, this is the gunner's best friend. When the missile is fired, you can control it using your look controls. Try to make small, slow movements to not steer the missile off target.
So there you go. Follow Gustav's advice and you'll have air superiority in no time.
Indeed. Now, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is out on the 10th of February. And for those of you who didn't know this, the team behind the game include comic book legend, artist and writer Todd McFarlane.
I got to chat with the man himself and I started by asking him how he got involved with the game.
Ex-major leaguer Kurt Schilling, who pitched for a while with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I live in Phoenix. He gives me a phone call and says, Todd, I'm getting near the end of my career. I got to start thinking about what I'm going to do post-athletics. And I'm a huge gamer and I want to start a video game company. So when Kurt asked me to come on artistically, I wasn't interested in just being a concept artist. And I go, you let me have control over the whole smattering of anything that you see or hear with your ears or eyes, and I'm your man.
What's your take on what combat should be in a game?
Well, there's two things. Combat in the game should just be cool, right? I mean, what are you talking about? It's very visceral. You know, you don't do it for the sake of just going, oh, it was okay, I lopped that guy's head off, that was quite nice. You don't do, you going, if I'm going to slay a 20-foot giant, let's slay the giant. That's what I kept saying. I go, guys, if we're going to do action, then let's do it. It takes as much time to develop good action. There's been a lot of RPG games over the years that the action part of it seems to be almost a secondary thought. It doesn't seem to be as high a priority of it. I didn't want the action to be a high priority because I want it to be an action game. It's just that if within the confines of playing as an RPG player, you decide to go into that action arena, and you open that door, then damn it, it better be as good as we can possibly make it, right? Just like spellcasting better be as good as we can make it, and the animation should be as good as we can make it. So, again, I'm not advocating if you're a role player and you just like questing, go ahead, rock and roll, do your thing. If you want to veer and have a little bit of fun in the action, it's going to hit you hard and it's going to be big and it's going to be gigantic, and hopefully you'll walk away going, wow, I'm not an action guy, but that was kind of cool. And you'll go, and maybe we'll even tempt you to do a little more action if we do our job right.
At Comic-Con, we saw you demonstrating how to stab someone and how visceral it was. Have you stabbed someone before or done something weird like that? It seems like you seem to know what you're doing.
No, I know. I haven't stabbed anybody while I've been awake, you know, although I've dreamt I have plenty of mortal enemies. But what I do, here's where it derives from, is that I've been an athlete my whole life, and I know about being competitive and getting sort of adrenaline going.
Physicality.
Yeah, and so I know that I've never been a knight, but I know that if a guy was coming at me and I either lop his head off or he lops my head off, I go, two things are going to happen. First, I'm going to try and get the first blow in. It's going to be with anger and with grit and determination. There's going to be no passive head lopping because I'll be dead before he's dead. And then once you lop the head off, then there's not even going to be any compassion to it because there's a guy behind him that wants to kill me too. So I don't even have the time to even lament about the guy I just killed because there's 25 guys that are trying to get me in this battle. 20 against 1, I got to just keep going. And when I hopefully slay them all, then I'll just sort of catch my collective breath, not sort of rejoice over it, go get a good night's sleep and go against the troll factions the next day and see if I can't do it again.
Todd, I could listen to you all day, but we've got to go because we're out of time, but thank you very much for your words of wisdom.
All right, appreciate you having me.
Thank you, quite a physical interview.
Okay.
Loving Todd McFarlane right now.
Yeah, he was awesome. I could have chatted to him all day. In fact, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to see the full 10-minute unedited chat I had with Todd, when I say chat, it was more like a monologue from him, then just click on the interview you've just seen and it'll take you straight there.
technology. Right, now, a few weeks before Christmas, I managed to get some exclusive time with Life's Too Short and famed Star Wars actor Warwick Davis at the midnight launch of Star Wars The Old Republic.
Already? How did that go for you?
Well, clearly, I'm just about to show you. It's a link.
I see.
We're here at the launch and you've been signing a load of posters. What's it like meeting the fans? Because are these the most hardcore fans, do you think?
They are. I mean, for anybody to be out here in Oxford Street at midnight on a Wednesday, you've got to be pretty hardcore. It's a fun atmosphere here, you know, and people, somebody waited 14 hours for this moment. And they want to get their hands on this game.
You were in Star Wars when you were 11 and now people can play it virtually. I mean, is that weird to imagine?
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine me as an 11-year-old boy running around the forest of Endor battling with stormtroopers. You know, literally I could do that. And back when I was 11, all those years ago, we didn't have games that of the like that you have today. But yeah, with Star Wars Old Republic, you can immerse yourself totally in the Star Wars galaxy and do battle with people, you know, kind of much as I did, you know, in reality when I was 11.
Are you a bit of a gamer?
I like driving games. That's what I play a lot of. I like this sort of a game as well that's quite immersive. Although I find you've got to sit there for hours, and before you know it, you have been sat there for 6 hours, and it's got dark, and you haven't eaten, and your wife has left you. My kids, they're always on it, and they're very anxious to get their hands on this and sort of start exploring this world of Star Wars Old Republic.
Now, obviously, from working on the films, you've become, would I say, a close friend with George Lucas?
Yeah, George is a friend of mine. I like to call him George. Mr. Lucas to you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've known him since I was 11 years old. He gave me my big break and of course has given me great opportunities career-wise in Willow and then also in the prequel as well, episode 1. It's amazing, isn't it, to think that the one man kind of created this galaxy far, far away, and it's such a well-realised place now that it does feel like somewhere that could exist.
Now, of course, you've done all big Hollywood blockbusters and now you're working on Life Too Short, where you're playing yourself. Is that a bit different? Because you're usually a character.
Yeah, I mean, I treated the character of Warwick as that. He is a character. You know, he's unlike me. I don't have quite such a large ego, if you could imagine that. You know, I'm a little bit more approachable, a bit nicer, and you know, haven't got a chip on my shoulder like he has. He's ridiculous. He's a monster. He's egotistical. He's fame hungry, and a lot of fun to play. And the character has been so taken in by the nation that you know, wherever I go, it's all right, Warwick, how's it going? It's sort of a hero's welcome that I get. And I think if you make somebody laugh, there's a connection that you make with them that's quite different to any of the work I've ever done before this.
That's it for another show.
Thank you for all your likes. We really do appreciate them.
Don't forget to leave your questions for developers in the comments section, as well as inappropriate stuff about Sian.
Indeed. You can also follow and subscribe to us via the links contained in this handy graphic above.
In 2 weeks, be here, you know, on the internet for the PWNED Mass Effect 3 special. You will not want to miss it.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.